Which shoe should you buy? Good morning, YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. Last week, I did a first impressions of the Asics SuperBlast, and you guys seem to be pretty intrigued by this shoe, but one of the many questions that I got in the comments is which shoe do I like better, or which shoe should you buy? The Asics SuperBlast or a favorite of mine, the New Balance Super Comp Trainer. Two big ol' very cushioned shoes. So cushioned, in fact, that they're both technically illegal, which means that if you're trying to win prize money, or I think place really high up in a race, I don't know, if you're really fast and elite, you can't wear these in a marathon. But for us common folks, you can wear whatever you want. In fact, I did wear the New Balance Super Comp Trainer in the Suffolk County Marathon that I did here on Long Island, and I have no regrets. So because you all have asked me to compare these two shoes, that's exactly what we're gonna do today. We're gonna talk about their uppers, their midsoles, their outsoles, and the pricing of the shoes, compare and contrast. And then at the end, I'll tell you which shoe I would personally buy, but that doesn't mean that my opinion is the only one. So please take that into consideration. While both of these shoes are super max cush and technically illegal, that's about one of the few similarities they have. They actually are kind of different, and we're gonna talk about all that today, so let's get started. So we're not gonna go over all the specs, but there are a couple things that I wanna point out, and one of those things is the stack height. In my Instagram reel that I put out on Friday, I misspoke. The New Balance Super Comp Trainer has 47 millimeters of stack in the heel of this shoe, which is a hunk of midsole. So that's 2 millimeters over the technically illegal limit of 45. Now the SuperBlast right here from Asics, this shoe has 45.5 millimeters. So they both go over the limit, but the Super Comp does have a little bit more. And I guess with 2 extra millimeters of foam under your foot, you're also gonna get a heavier shoe. At my women's 10.5, this shoe comes in at 10.4 ounces, and the Asics SuperBlast, which is a unisex shoe, this is a men's size 9, women's 10.5, this shoe comes in at 8.43 ounces. To be honest with you, I do feel the weight difference in my hand. Both of these shoes are true to size for me, however, they fit a little bit different. The Super Comp Trainer is on the snugger side, while the SuperBlast could be a little bit on the longer side. I think I would still stick with my sizes that I have here for these shoes, but if you're a person who doesn't really like a snug fit, might want to consider sizing up a half size in the Super Comp Trainer, and in the SuperBlast, potentially a half size down. So now let's talk about the uppers, and we'll start with the Super Comp Trainer first. I have quite a few videos on this shoe. I have my first impressions of it. I have that I was picking it for my marathon shoe, and I also put this shoe head to head with 2 other New Balance running shoes. So there are quite a lot of videos. If today's video doesn't really give you enough detail, just wanted to throw that out there. I'll link them all in the description so you can check them out. But anyway, here in the Super Comp Trainer, we have an engineered knit material. It is sort of like a mesh. I wouldn't say it's the typical knit that you see in like the 1080 V12 and shoes like that, but it still has a lot of characteristics of knit. It's very, very thin and lightweight, and everything about this upper is kind of minimal. You have just a piece of fabric for the tongue. There's not a ton of cushioning around the ankle collar. There is some inside of the shoe, but this is pretty minimal and bare bones. When you first get it, it really hugs your foot. And that might be a little bit invasive for some people. But what I will say is that it does open up a bit over time. This upper isn't traditional by any means, and I don't think it's gonna be for everyone. I'll admit it took me a little bit to get used to at first. Now for the Asics SuperBlast, we have an engineered mesh as opposed to the knit in the Super Comp Trainer. This is still lightweight, very breathable, and minimal in some aspects, but they didn't really skimp out on making it as comfortable as they could for what it was. The tongue is softer, it's neoprene, and it is gusseted. So is the Super Comp Trainer, by the way. But this just feels a little bit more comfortable. You have some padding around the ankle collar, and it feels a touch more structured maybe. I'll be honest, I felt a little more at home here in the SuperBlast because it just feels like more of a traditional running shoes upper. I'm not crazy about knit uppers in general, so this was a little bit more what I kind of like. But with both shoes, I didn't have any issues with hot spots, irritation, or blistering, so that was great. If you're asking me to pick one of these uppers, I think I would definitely pick the SuperBlast. Again, it just feels a little more normal to me. This is out of the box, and while I did get used to it and quite enjoy it now, it was a learning curve and it took some time for me to break it in. Now let's talk about the midsoles of these two shoes. We'll start with the Super Comp Trainer. The Super Comp Trainer has 47 millimeters of stack in the heel of Feel Cell foam and 39 millimeters of it in the forefoot. That is a lot of Feel Cell foam, and Feel Cell foam is their performance-based foam that they use in lots of their high-end shoes, such as the SC Elite. Not only do you have a lot of cushion under your foot, but you also have a carbon plate. It's not exactly a traditional carbon plate like you're thinking though. They're calling it an energy arc, so basically it's arched, and when you step down onto the shoe, the arch compresses and then springs back upward to give you more propulsion and energy return. Here in the Asics SuperBlast, Asics is utilizing two different types of foam. We have their performance-based Super Shoe foam, the FF Turbo underfoot, that chunky orange stuff. Like I said, you have 45.5 millimeters of it in the heel and 37.5 of it in the forefoot. Now that green layer that also kind of acts as the outsole here, that is their FF Blast Plus foam. And while the FF Turbo is supposed to provide a stiffer, more responsive, bouncy ride, the FF Blast Plus gives you a little more cushion, a softer landing, and just helps to give you a smoother ride. Now the Asics SuperBlast, while utilizing two types of foams, does not have a plate. Now, we'll put them head to head here to compare the rides of these two shoes. Automatically off the bat, I'm going to say that if you're looking for a shoe that just feels kind of out of this world, like nothing you've ever felt before, then the SC Trainer is where I would go. 47 millimeters of stack is crazy and it feels crazy. And I have to be honest, it took me some time to get used to. Like I had to get my sea legs in this shoe a little bit. But once I did, the energy arc with the Fuel Cell really just set it apart from anything else that I was running in at the time. I found myself picking it up for long runs. I found myself picking it up on tempo days and just my regular easy run days. Like it really could do it all, and so much so that I wore it in a marathon. Now, the SuperBlast does have some of those qualities. Like the FF Turbo foam really gives it a propulsion and energy return feel to it. However, the lack of plate here doesn't make it as wild feeling of a ride. And I think honestly that some runners will prefer the ride of this shoe over something like this. The SuperBlast feels more traditional and normal, but leveled up from your standard daily trainer. I do have more miles on the Super Comp, but from what I've run in and experienced in the SuperBlast, it is great for long, easy runs. It will be great for some strides if you want to pick up the pace in the shoe a bit. However, I probably wouldn't reach for this shoe for a tempo day, just because I do think there are other shoes that can kind of hit that mark maybe a little bit better. I do think you could run a marathon in this shoe as well and have absolutely no problem. Between the two of them, which shoe would I choose midsole wise? I would probably go with the SC Trainer. The SuperBlast though is a really close second, and on days where I just want a little bit of pizzazz but not like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride here, this would be what I would grab. It's super. There's a lot of super here. Super Comp, SuperBlast, they're super good shoes. It's a lot of super. Super duper. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. The outsoles. Just kidding. Both of these shoes are using blown rubber. I'm not positive what the New Balance's rubber is called, but I know that the Asics shoe is using AHAR Plus. Both have decent amounts of exposed foam here. Both have pretty good traction. I did run in wetter conditions in the shoe and it was slipping a little bit, but I have also sort of experienced that a tad with the SC Trainer as well. So I think they're kind of even in that sense. Something really annoying about the SC Trainer is that in this hole here, acorns were getting stuck like no one's business. Rocks, acorns, I hate that. Very, very annoying. Sounded like I was wearing a tap shoe. We don't have that problem here in the SuperBlast though. Overall, I don't really think I have a favorite here. I think they're both kind of the same. I'm not positive what the durability will be on this shoe. Time will tell. This one is fairly decent. Got my previous pair way over, probably like 300 miles or so. I don't even know. And they were definitely worn out, but still traction wasn't too bad. Either way, I don't think anybody's really basing their decision off of the outsole of this shoe. But what might make your decision about these shoes are the prices. On runningwarehouse.com, the New Balance Super Comp Trainer is $179.95. And the Asics SuperBlast is $219.95. And this is only available for pre-order right now, and it will ship sometime in December. This is where I'm gonna tell you which of these shoes I would buy. And if you've been watching this video, you probably already kind of have an idea. I would probably pick the Super Comp Trainer from New Balance. I think that for the money, you're getting a more versatile shoe, and you're getting it for a lot lower of a price. Now, that's not to say that I would totally write the SuperBlast off based on the price. I understand that it is a pretty big price tag, but it's also a price tag that you're probably spending on a super shoe that you wear twice a year. Well, maybe not twice a year, but like 10 times a year. Now, if you're interested in either of these shoes, I will link them down below in the description of this video. Keep in mind, these will be affiliate links with Running Warehouse. It doesn't mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can continue to compare and contrast different running shoes that you guys want me to compare and contrast. That's how it works here. I do think these two shoes were good to put head to head because they are a tier above the standard shoe, but not quite super shoes. Either way, you really can't go wrong with either super duper shoe, Super Comp, Super Blast. They're both pretty phenomenal and fun and exciting. And while I've had many really fun runs in this shoe, I'm kind of done with it at the moment, and all I've been wanting to do is run in the SuperBlast for what it's worth. And that, my friends, is the end of this comparison. Well, everyone, that includes my video of which shoe should you buy, the New Balance Super Comp Trainer or the Asics SuperBlast. If you have been taking a shot every time I said super in this video, please do not drive. You are probably very drunk and likely may need medical assistance. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. But the age-old question, which of these shoes do you like the look of better? Because we know that the only thing that really matters is looks, right? Duh. Put it in the comments down below. I have another video for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like Heller. See you next time. Hard to believe these are the same size. This one just looks longer. It's that back heel. And it makes it look like this is a baby shoe, which is strange because both of these shoes are huge because my feet are huge. So, you know.